learned that every day we're like a new creature. We begin to serve Hashem in the morning. And just like a Kohen, before going into the temple to wash his hands, so too also we wash our hands before we go to serve Hashem in the morning.
I'm hungry.
Go.
Oh,
So you can take it.
I go home.
Yeah.
I eat. I come.
Whatever you like. You don't have to come. You can go whatever you like.
Because I didn't eat.
Go.
All day.
Okay. If you feel good and eat. Okay. Second reason that we wash our hands is because when you go to sleep, your neshama leaves you, and when you wake up, although your neshama is returned, but there's still a spirit of impurity that comes upon your body when you go to sleep. And that spirit of impurity, mostly the parts of your body when your neshama returns, but remains in your hands. You have to wash your hands. And today I want to focus on the third reason, and that is the reason of the Ram and the Rosh. The reason we have to wash our hands is because at nighttime it's possible our hands touch places in the body which are not clean, and therefore before we begin to pray in the morning, we have to wash our hands. According to Ram and the Rosh, every time you daven, you have to wash your hands before mincha and before ma'ariv, and you say the bracha al Netilas Yadayim every single time you wash your hands. However, the author says that leinogu came Chol Yisrael. That's not the custom. No one does this. Although that's what they rule. That's their opinion. But no one. Eina minuk came Chol Yisrael. The author writes in Siman Dal and Dura Basra. However, he says Roi lochosh gam asar yishen l'maaseh. The author says it's still appropriate to be concerned for their opinion, practically. And he says you should go and look for water before mincha and for ma'ariv, and you should travel a distance of a mil, 18-20 minutes, to get water or to wash your hands before mincha and ma'ariv. So when exactly do we need to do that? What's the scenario? So the Rambam and the Rosh are only discussing before davening, but they're not discussing before mentioning Hashem's name and when you say a blessing. We don't see people before they make a bracha on an apple, they go to wash their hands. We don't see people before they study Torah, they go to wash their hands. There's stam yadayim, and then there is yadayim shenaga. There's hands, the halacha of hands ordinarily, because hands are busy, therefore it's assumed that they may touch something. And there is a situation where you actually did touch something. So the halacha is stam yadayim mikiyas bracha, that hands which you don't know that they've specifically touched something which is dirty, they're kosher to make a bracha. They're kosher to study Torah. You're allowed to study Torah. You're allowed to make a bracha, even though you haven't washed your hands. We don't assume that you've touched anything that wasn't clean. However, that's only if you don't know. If you certainly touched something which was unclean, then you're not allowed to make a bracha until you clean your hands. So therefore, if someone goes to sleep without clothing, in those days it was common to go to sleep without clothing because they didn't have enough money to have pajamas as well. So then, in that scenario, you're not allowed to make a bracha until you clean your hands. You don't necessarily have to use water, but you have to clean your hands in order to mention Hashem's name. But that's only to say a bracha, or that's in order to study Torah. If you touch something which is unclean, you rubbed your head, not just you wiped off some sweat or something, but you actually rubbed into your hair. So then you have to, before you continue studying Torah, so you have to clean your hands, rub your hands against something, so that they should be clean. But that's only for Torah and for a blessing. But for davening, then if you for sure touch something which was unclean in your body, then you have to wash your hands, and you have to travel the length of a parsa, 18-20 minutes, to find water. So in short, we have two differences between hands which have not certainly touched something which is dirty, and hands which have certainly touched something which is dirty. If you you're not sure if you touch something which is dirty, so then you're allowed to say a bracha, but you're not allowed to daven. And the second difference is that if you definitely touch something which is dirty, so then for Torah study, to say a prayer, it's enough. To say a bracha, to not mention Hashem's name, it's enough just to rub your hands against something to clean them. But in order to daven, you have to have water. Get the two differences, Vitali? Nachamo. Again, if you don't know if you touch something which is dirty, you went to sleep with your clothes on, let's say, so then you don't know if they're dirty or they're not dirty. So you're allowed to say a bracha. And that's why in the Gemara, when it lists the order of the brachas, it lists washing your hands last. Because you don't have to wash your hands from the perspective of the Gemara in before you say a bracha. You could say a bracha as long as your hands are clean, you're not, or if you don't know if your hands are dirty, you could say a bracha. That's halacha. If you don't know your hands were dirty, you're allowed to say a bracha, you're allowed to say a Torah. If you, but you're not allowed to daven. You're not allowed to say Shema, you're not allowed to say Shemona Esrei until you wash your hands. If you don't know that they've touched something dirty. If you know for sure they touched something dirty, so then you have to, it's enough to rub your hands and clean them to study Torah and to say a bracha. But in order to say Shemona Esrei, in order to say Shema, you have to wash your hands. Okay. So does everyone actually wash their hands before Mincha Ma'ariv? How does it work? We see before Mincha Ma'ariv, not everybody washes their hands. The Alter Rebbe seems to say you're supposed to go 20 minutes to wash your hands, but we don't see everyone doing that. So is that really halacha everyone has to do, or is that more of a hiddur? So by the Rebbe's Farbrengens, for example, they would speak sometimes for many hours, and then there would be Mincha. Not everyone would out to go to wash their hands. The Rebbe himself would wash. They poured the Rebbe water. But not everyone would go out to wash before Mincha. Why not? Because if you don't have water next to you and you don't know you touched something dirty, you're allowed to daven Mincha. If you have water, it's good to wash. In other words, halacha is not like the Ram and the Rosh. Ram and the Rosh say you say a bracha on this time before Mincha. You say a bracha this time before Ma'ariv. Every time you wash your hands before Mincha Ma'ariv, first of all, they say that this assumption is that that you have to wash your hands with the bracha according to them. How are we paskin that you don't have to wash your hands unless you know you touched something dirty? But if you don't know, it's better to wash your hands. You don't have to. It's better to wash your hands if you have water there. Let's say it that way. You have to if you have water there. If you have water readily in front of you, you have to wash your hands. If you don't know you touched something dirty, if you know you touched something dirty, then you have to go 20 minutes to get water. You follow the conclusion? To say a bracha, you don't see people running to wash their hands before they say a bracha. We don't see people running to wash their hands before they learn Torah. You don't have to wash your hands before you learn Torah or you say a bracha. If you don't assume your hands are dirty. You could say a bracha, you can learn Torah without doing anything. But if you know you touched something dirty, so then for Torah study for a bracha, it's enough just rub your hands. Just to daven Shemona Esrei, to say Shema, you have to wash your hands. If you know for sure you touched something dirty, so then you have to go 20 minutes to get water before you daven Shemona Esrei, before you say Shema. If you don't know if you touched something dirty, if water is there, then wash. If you don't have water readily in front of you, and the minyan is starting, you got to join the minyan. You don't have to. Okay, I have to wash my hands before davening. We don't pass like that. I'm the Rosh. You have to wash your hands before Mincha Ma'ariv and Shachris. As long as your hands are, you don't know for sure they're dirty, you're allowed to begin davening without washing your hands. That is the first part I want to share. Second part I want to share with you is the following interesting thing. I think I mentioned last class. Rabbi 11, his father, he's a librarian. When his mother wasn't well, his father would wake up in the middle of the night, and his mother couldn't fall back asleep. So he asked the Rebbe, what should he do? When he wakes up in the middle of the night, his wife wakes up, he washes his hands, she wakes up, and she can't go back asleep, and she's not well, she's not healthy, it's not good for her. What should he do? So the Rebbe said that he should learn in his thoughts. He shouldn't wash his hands and wake her up. And then actually said, go bring Rebbe's bookshelf. Rebbe asked him, I'll show you it's true. You're allowed to study in your mind without washing your hands. Rebbe asked him to bring a book from the Teis HaShulchan, and there it says that you're allowed to think words of Torah without without washing your hands. So that's what it says that's what Rabbi told him. But there's actually three different issues that would seem to make it forbidden to think words of Torah before washing your hands. So let's go over the three issues and let's see when you can think words of Torah and when you cannot think words of Torah. So the first problem is, you follow so far with me? I've told him that you should think words of Torah. Don't say words of Torah, just think words of Torah. The first problem is, it says in Siman Pei Hey that you're not allowed to think thoughts of Torah in a bathroom. In a dirty place, not allowed to think the words of Torah. So if your hands are dirty, you've slept, and you didn't wear pajamas, you don't have any clothing, so your hands have touched something which is impure, how can you possibly think words of Torah now? So the Beis Yosef asked this question. Beis Yosef has a question. On the one hand, we know in the bathroom you can't think words of Torah. On the other hand, Rabbeinu Yonah says that if your hands are dirty, you could think a blessing or a prayer you need to say. So the Beis Yosef answers, it depends how dirty the place is. If it's mamish dirty, you cannot. If it's not so dirty, you are. If your hands are the place you're in are not so clean, you could think words of Torah. But if it's mamish dirty, your hands are mamish dirty, the place is mamish dirty, then you can't. That's what the Beis Yosef says. It's not such a clear, strong answer, it seems. And the Beis Yosef says he's not so satisfied. This is a difficult answer. I want to say to answer his words. That there's a difference between your hands being actually dirty or your hands just not being clean. And so he says, if you're in a bathroom, you can't think words of Torah. If your hands may have touched a place in your body which is not clean, you can think words of Torah. You can think words of Torah. Just if it's the place itself is actually a dirty place, you cannot think words of Torah. That's what he says. So let's discuss for a second the laws of a bathroom. It's very interesting. By the Rebbe, often the Rebbe would daven upstairs in 770, and in the upstairs synagogue, there's a door that goes into a hallway, and that hallway goes into another little hallway that has a bathroom at the end of it. And the Rebbe always wanted, before he made a bracha on the Torah, that they should close the door of the Rebbe's synagogue to the hallway before he made a bracha. Why? The simple reason is because it says in Shulchan Aruch, you're not allowed to make a bracha not only when you're in the bathroom. Not only can you not think Torah when you're in the bathroom, even if you're 4 amos away from a bathroom, which is 6 to 8 feet, you also can't think words of Torah. And if you see a bathroom, you can't say words of Torah. So the Rebbe wanted them to close the door so you couldn't see the opening. It shouldn't be in front of the bathroom. I mean, that was it seems to be an extra hiddur because not mamish directly in front of the bathroom. There's a hallway and there's a whole distance, but the Rebbe could see it, and the Rebbe wanted the door to be closed. In fact, the yeshiva students wanted to keep the door open, so that way the whole hallway could get to also hear the Torah. And they built another door there, so that way it would be closed, and everyone would have to see the first door could be open, the second door would be closed. But apparently they didn't inform the Rebbe of their plan, and the Rebbe wanted or maybe a reason not the Rebbe, they wanted the door to be closed. The Rebbe didn't want to make a bracha until the door was closed, because you're not allowed to say a bracha when you're looking at a bathroom. When you're in front of a bathroom, you can't say a bracha. Not only inside the bathroom, but you're not allowed to think words of Torah or say words of Torah or say a bracha when you're facing a bathroom. And this can happen all kinds of scenarios, like even in your house. Let's say if there's the wall of the bathroom, that's fine. But the door of the bathroom, meaning the wall of, let's say, if there's a courtyard, there's a bathroom in the courtyard, that's one halachic status. The whole thing is a bathroom. You can't say a bracha when you're looking at the bathroom. But in your house, besides the bathroom itself being an issue, the door of the bathroom is an issue. The walls of the whole bathroom aren't an issue. Those are also the walls of your dining room. They're also the walls of your living room. But the actual door to the bathroom, that you're now allowed to say a bracha when you're facing it, or you're 6 feet or 8 feet away from it. If you turn your head away.
But isn't the bathroom that is big? Was the bathroom back there that everything was inside there?
There are those who say that bathrooms today are different because bathrooms are completely clean when you, but there are those which say that it's not, that it's the same. And that seems to be the consensus, that it's the same halachic status. And that's, you see that Rebbe was so careful. So question number one is, how can you think words of Torah before you wash? Aren't your hands dirty? The answer is the difference between, as Beis Yosef says, between a dirty place or just your hands, or your hands being a little bit dirty, but not being full of dirt. In other words, there's a difference in your hands touching places in the body which are not clean and being in a bathroom. That's the Beis Yosef answers. Problem number 2 is, if you're wearing a bathrobe and you're not wearing any clothing underneath it, there's another problem. There's a concept called libi reis erva. You're not allowed to say words of Torah when your heart is exposed to your body. Meaning, there's no separation between, if you're under one covering, it's covering both your head and the rest of your body, and your body's exposed. So the halachic classification is your heart can see your nakedness. If your heart can see your nakedness, you're not allowed to say words of Torah.
Your robe has a like a belt.
Oh, so if your robe has a belt, that's considered good. That's a separation. However, and that's why we wear a gartel. Although we wear a belt, etc., on our clothing, but for davening, we have the extra thing to also make sure to wear a gartel, an additional separation. But if you don't have a belt, and it's just, or you're under a blanket, and you're not wearing clothing, then you're not allowed to say words of Torah. But you're still allowed to think words of Torah. Why? Because it says in the Torah, "Lo yira b'cha avers davar." You cannot see nakedness. So the Gemara learns out, davar comes from the word dibor. Thing has the same. You cannot see an exposed thing. So the exposed item, whatever. So the Gemara says the word item has the same letters as the word speech. You're not, when you have something exposed in your body, you're not allowed to say words of Torah, but you're allowed to think words of Torah. And also it says in the Torah, you should cover, when you go to the bathroom, you should cover. The Torah is talking about soldiers going out to war, and when they go to the bathroom, they should cover after they've gone to the bathroom. So that's referring to when you have to cover the places that that's talking actual excrement, that's talking actual feces. There the Torah says you have to actually cover it in order to think words of Torah, to think words of Torah. But if you're not exposed to, if it's not an actual place of filth, not an actual bathroom, it's just the fact that there's nakedness. There's no issue of thinking words of Torah. There's the only issue of saying words of Torah. So let's say you go to the mikveh and someone asks you a halacha question, middle of the mikveh, and you know the answer. Can you answer? Well, in order to answer, you have to think. And you ought to think in the mikveh words of Torah. So the mikveh, there's different places in the mikveh. There's a place in the mikveh where you wash your body, the showers. There is a place in the mikveh where there's a lot of steam, and then there's a place where people some people are dressing, but not just people getting the dressing room. So the dressing room is a place where it's not considered a place of filth, halachically, but the shower is considered a place of filth. And therefore, in the shower, you can answer the question. But in the dressing room, you could answer yes or no to a halachic question. Why? Because you're not saying words of Torah, you're saying yes or no. You know how to think words of Torah there. You know how to think words of Torah. What if the shower, like on Nico here on Pico, it's right next to the one part next to the dressing room, one next to the dressing room. It's not so sure how it works exactly, how the demarcation works, as it works similar to a bathroom, not works similar to a bathroom. The bathroom, for sure, it says that as long as it's in front of your eyes, you can't think words of Torah. But regarding a shower, I don't know if it's the same kind of status. And so that's the second issue. The second issue is you're allowed to think words of Torah even if you're naked. If you see this nakedness, you're also allowed to think words of Torah. You're not allowed to say words of Torah, you're allowed to think words of Torah. The third issue is, what about the bracha of the Torah? Don't you have to say a bracha before thinking words of Torah? And the answer is no, that you're allowed to think words of Torah even if you did not say a bracha. It says in Hilchos Talmud Torah Beis, as long as you're learning just in your thoughts, you're not fulfilling the mitzvah of learning. It's interesting, this one last point, the author adds words, if you're able to say it with your lips and you don't say it with your lips, you're not doing the mitzvah of learning Torah. It sounds like if you were not able to say the words, like in the story of Rabbi Levin's father, where he couldn't say the words of Torah because he didn't wash his hands, and it would have disturbed his wife, and she wasn't well. So then you are fulfilling the mitzvah of learning Torah in your thoughts. But either way, the general rule is that if you're just thinking with the words of Torah, you're not fulfilling the mitzvah of Torah, because it says in the Torah, The Torah cannot be removed from your lips, from your mouth. So only if you say the Torah with your mouth, then you are fulfilling the mitzvah of studying Torah. But if you're just learning Torah with your mind, you're not fulfilling the mitzvah of learning Torah. And Zalman wants me to add one more point. If I have one last point, what part of your body is considered a place which would require you to clean? It's considered a covered place that would require you to wash your hands. So when you put on tefillin in the morning and you put your tefillin on your arm, so isn't your arm considered a normally covered place? So in the short, it sounds like the Alter Rebbe's wording that there's a difference between your body and your arms and your legs. Your body, the place in your body which is usually covered, yes, those are places which would require you to wash your hands. But your arm doesn't seem to be, although people are careful, you try to be careful when you touch the upper part of your arm, when you put on film, it doesn't seem to be such an issue. You don't have to go wash your hands afterwards if you did. But your legs, you would have to go and wash your hands if you touch your legs as well. All right, in short is that you can't think words of Torah before you wash your hands in the morning, and these three issues of your heart seeing your nakedness, or you're not saying the bracha yet of studying Torah, or the fact that your hands are not clean, that all those three issues do not prevent you from fulfilling the mitzvah of, prevent you from thinking words of Torah. And as Rebbe said many times, that a person should be so engrossed in study of Torah that he wakes up in the middle of the night, it should be that his mind is right away thinking about questions he has in the study of Torah. Any questions or comments? All right.
I have a comment.
Is it a positive comment?
No, just